Okay, so as I said before, today we're gonna go and make, I guess, 1.5 to 2 maps, and we're gonna go through the whole workflow from um, Google Earth to Photoshop. In the future, you can take this workflow from Photoshop to Illustrator or InDesign to add more details and be a little bit more specific with your annotations. But for simplicity's sake, we're going to stick with Photoshop. So we're going to start today by going to Google Earth. Hopefully you all are able to use Google Earth, but if not, I'm sure there's other map services that can kind of give you the same kind of images that we're looking for. So Google Earth is a tool that is so strong for landscape architects for two different things. For getting current and historical aerial images of a site, but then also you can do kind of baseline renderings, and a lot of firms will use Google Earth for three-dimensional renderings. So I can show you, we're going to kind of go over that today as well. So the web browser form of Google Earth is up to date, but isn't nearly as good as the software desktop version of Google Earth. So if you want to really take what we do today to another level, I would recommend downloading Google Earth. From there, you can download higher resolution photos and also take transects, elevation transects of sites. So I highly recommend that. So today what we're going to do is we're going to select a site. It could be your site from Studio or just, interesting place that you're aware of, and that's really all it takes to do this assignment today. And I'm going to look over here at this reservoir in Eugene. And so some of you might not have as clean of a look as my image does here, and that can be changed by clicking in these layers in this bottom left corner, and you can see that there's a few different options in the way that we see our layers. So I'm going to turn off the 3D buildings. It's going to kind of change the way that we see the aerial image, and I'm going to get a nice enough image that I can see. I have my site perfectly centered, but I also have some context around it, which is really important. And if you're using the desktop version, you can kind of zoom out a little bit more. I highly recommend doing that for a studio because you can download higher res photos, and then you can easily zoom in if you need. It's always nice to be able to have room to work with. And we're going to take a screenshot. So in the PC world, and I'm gonna just move this down for a second. In the PC world, it's at least for me, it's a button next to F11, which allows me to click and drag, and I'll save directly to my files. And without moving the map, we're gonna go to layers and click on everything, just so we can see the map and see all of the roads going around our site. And we're going to take another screenshot. Wonderful. So we're going to go back to clean. We're going to turn on our 3D buildings. I'm going to zoom into our site. And we kind of click our scroll button, we can move around and make our view three-dimensional. Now I'm gonna try to get a view where I can, I'm still pointing north, just in hopes that we can stay kind of consistent with the map. And this looks good to me. We can see some of the three-dimensional aspects of this. And we're going to take another screenshot. Fantastic. So after we took our screenshot or take our screenshots, we can open up Bridge, and we can move our files. So when I take screenshots, they'll automatically go to my pictures, and then there's a screenshots folder. And I double click that. I can sort by date created. Let's see, I think click down here, and here are the most recent photos. I'm just going to control X or cut. Double check. I'm going to do control X and then go to the LA week 5. Fantastic. So in our week 5 folder, I have the 3 screenshots, and then our hotkey cheat sheet, which I posted on Canvas this morning. And I'm just going to quick name these. Oops. Just 3D. Plan with context or with labels. Clean. Wonderful. Okay. So let's open up Photoshop. And so this is the Adobe Photoshop beta. This is like the test software from Adobe, and it's looking like it's wanting to not let me open the 2024 version. Let's see, here we go. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go to new file. Make sure that our artboard that we're opening has a width of 17 inches. Here we are inches, height of 11. And this is all looking good. I'm going to create. And we're going to go to Bridge. And we're going to bring in by holding, we can hold Control and just kind of select the 3 images we want to bring in for right now, which is our aerial view, our plan with our labels, a plan with no labels, and then finally the hotkey cheat sheet. And click and drag that and drop it onto our new artboard. It might take a second. There we go. Perfect. So you'll see that these all came in. We can see this little icon in on our layer. they all came in as smart objects, and that's perfect for us. We're going to move our hotkey cheat sheet off to the side. And we're going to lock that layer. And then we're going to select our two images. And we're going to enlarge them so they kind of take up the full page. Wonderful. Okay. So when I took these screenshots, I wasn't exact on kind of where I had started my cut and end it. So if I lower the opacity of one of my plan views, I can see that there's some kind of discrepancies with the lineup of the images. So I'm just going to use the arrow keys just to make some small adjustments. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it just needs to be close. And you can usually tell when they line up perfectly or close to when the image becomes substantially more clear than before. So we're going to take away the visibility of our plan with context. And I'm noticing that the hotkey cheat sheet is kind of hard to read. So we're going to change that really quick by right-clicking on hotkey cheat sheet, going up to the blending options, and hopefully this will help with some legibility. We're going to just do a color overlay. So when you click on the color overlay, we have the blending mode. We'll keep normal there. And you can adjust the color. So it may not be white for you right away, but you can adjust the color to white, and that'll help keep it a little bit more legible. I'll lock that up again. Wonderful. So for our map, what we're going to want to do is the site that we selected that we're interested in, we want to kind of have it pop out and be immediately identifiable. And then we're going to select one road that we want to give some sort of meaning to. We don't have to really put that much thought into it because it's just an exercise. So don't stress over what road to select. So we're going to click Control J on our clean, our plan view with no labels. And that makes a duplicate, which you can see here in our layers window. And we're going to do another duplicate for right now. So we have plan clean copy and copy 2. If we just double click on the name, we can edit it. So we're going to change our copy 1 to hue and saturation. Then we're going to change our copy 2 to black and white. So let's hide our black and white and go to our hue and saturation. So what I'm seeing on this is that the colors are a little muted. And I want my site to kind of visibly pop and also kind of give the idea of, lush and vibrance and greenery. And so I'm going to press Control U, which opens up the hue and saturation panel. I'm going to increase the saturation a bit. Not too much, but even this already. And then I don't think I'll play with the lightness at all, but you can if it's unusually dark. I'm going to change the saturation up a bit. And when I have it to a place that I like, I'll hit OK. So now we have that. And then I'm going to go to our black and white layer, and I'm going to select Alt, Shift, Control B. And this allows us to change and edit the colors, or like, I guess, the brightness of our image through black and white. So I really want my site to pop. And so I'm just gonna like play around a little bit with what turns out to be the most bright and dark. So I'm gonna increase this a little bit just because, and decrease the shadows, which are magenta right now. What I'm curious about, or what I kind of want to highlight, is this, the reservoir top. So I notice when I play around with the blues and the greens that I can start to get some contrast of the overall site with that reservoir top. I kind of like where we're at now. I'm going to press OK. And if we edited too much and we want to go back, we can just double click on the black and white, which is the smart filter layer added to our image. And we can go back and adjust things if we need. We could also, if we wanted, to kind of make our color black and white, but with a hue of some sort. Click tint here, and we can really make it whatever color we want. Sometimes it's fun just to have a little bit of color, so I'll add a little bit of blue. Fantastic. Okay, so we have our original image, our hue and saturation image, and then our black and white. So what I think I'm going to do is bring that hue and saturation image above the black and white, and I'm going to create a mask over it. I'm going to press B, which turns on our brush tool, which we used a lot the other day. And I'm going to press Alt, click, and drag it to just increase the size, because I see with my the layer that I opened with the hue and saturation is that I'm painting on right now. I need to paint away the mask, so I have a lot I need to clean up. I'm just going to go in and avoid my site with the brush, but get everything else. And we've kind of already gone over the hardness and opacity. Just for simplicity's sake, I think what we have as our standard is good for right now. But for my taste, I think I always like color. And I think this black and white is a little too harsh for me. And so I'm just going to go and select the black and white layer. Up here at the opacity, I'm just going to decrease the opacity a bit. So now we can see just a little bit of color. But what that is doing is allowing us to really emphasize the view that is in color. So it's a little bit. And but I'm noticing the shadows are kind of bothering me. So I'm going to go back up to the hue and saturation, select image, adjustments. I'm going to play around with the brightness and contrast. I'm just going to increase the contrast just a little. Oh, I have to, when you do this, make sure you select the image and not the mask. That's what I just did. All right, we're selecting the image. I'm going to adjust the contrast just a little bit. There we go. I just did that because I noticed some of the shadows were gray and not black, and I wanted just a little bit of a pop. Wonderful. So what we've done is we've placed our higher saturation image of the map over the black and white, and then we've decreased the opacity of the black and white filter so that our original image is popping through just a little bit. So now it's time to add a road, some sort of interest. And so I'm going to press P for the pen tool. And I think this road, I don't know what it's called, but it's sort of calling my name. And so I'm going to start just making some line work. I think it goes up here, and then let's have it go back up. You notice I'm making a shape. That's not what I want to do, so I can go up and press the no fill. If I select the color swatch for the shape, I'm going to increase the stroke just a bit. I think this is perfect. And I'm going to change the color of that stroke so it pops a little bit. So I'm going to move this bar up, go over to this yellow. It could be a little bit more saturated. There we go. Awesome. When you're done with that, you can press V and kind of change to your selection tool. So now we have a road highlighted. If we select our shape again, go down or press P for our pen tool, you can see in the in your pen kind of bar that there's this line here with the down arrow. You can play around with the caps. You can play around with where the line falls on I guess the etch that you made, the line that you made. And you can play around with the corners. I'm always a sucker for just making my corners round, but it's definitely personal preference. And with our shape, we're going to right-click right-click the layer, and we're going to convert it to a smart object. So now we can kind of manipulate it a bit. And we're going to do a filter just to kind of help make it fade a little bit. So we're going to go to Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur. And this is my personal favorite blur. And we're just going to kind of turn it up so it's more highlighting a road than being a kind of specific like line going through. Let's see, and wonderful. So now we have it going through, our road going through, and we can use also, oh yeah, sorry, we can also use our plan with context to help us, and we can bring the shape up and over that to help make sure that we're outlining a road if a road is hard to see on your site. And finally, the last couple of things we'll do is we're going to open up or press P to open up our pen tool. I'm going to make a fill color that could be kind of specific to maybe something you want to highlight. So I'm going to highlight Melvin Miller Park here in the corner, but you could be highlighting a water body or another path, really anything you'd like. And most parks are green, so I'm going to pick a green color. I'm going to draw in what I assume is the border of the park. Fantastic. Not going to worry about that at all. And then I'm going to decrease the opacity just a bit. Let's see how that looks. Awesome. It's not looking too bad. I'm always a fan of kind of softer edges. So I'm going to do sort of the same thing where I'm going to convert to a smart object, view or filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Decrease that blur just a little bit. Wonderful. More of a suggestion. Finally, we're going to press T which is text. Select the font I've been using for this class, Bookmania. Do regular, and then change the color to white. Okay, so it came in with some extra text, but deleted that right away. And I'm just going to type in reservoir. I hope I spelt that right. And decrease the size just a little. Oh, Control Z is such a helpful tool. Okay, I guess I have to retype it. Move that over there. I can just Control J, which duplicates the same settings. Let's see, what was this called? Melvin Miller Park. Going to just decrease the size a bit. And then finally, just access road. You want the hotkey to get out of a text box, you just press escape. Okay. So we have most of it. If I wanted to kind of highlight a little bit better, I'm just going to do this really quickly. We can always, oops, and I should use my hotkeys. Press P for the pen. And let's make the stroke 1. Remove the fill. Let's okay, and then finally we can in our stroke options, we have the option to do a dashed line. I'm going to do a dashed line, change my caps to round, and I think that's good enough. I like dashed lines because they help make hard corners look a little bit more soft, and they're just not as bold as solid lines, but you can always use a solid line if you would prefer that. So we have a little bit of an outline, and I might just press P again. My settings have all been saved. Outline that reservoir too, just for the fun of it. Fantastic. So right here is the assignment, the first part of the assignment. And we're going to save it. And I don't know about you, but I have gone into the past, or gone to my past work to edit things, and have had to just click around on shapes just to figure out what they are. So before we close out, we're just going to edit the names of our layers. Make sure you, when you export, you take away the hotkey cheat sheet. Fantastic. Save again. And then from here, we would export and do all that kind of stuff. But we have one more little map to make. And so we're going to go to File, New. My past file has been saved as the 11 by 17. Open that up, go to Bridge, find our 3D image. We're going to drop that in. It would be nice if this was slightly centered. So I'm going to bring this out, bring out these grid lines just by clicking and dragging from the ruler. I'm going to get my site centered there. There's that reservoir that I'm interested in. Okay. So, and then let's go back, hotkey, cheat sheet, try pressing copy. I haven't tried this before. Pasting it. Wonderful. It came with the colors too. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna lock. You can also lock by doing control plus, control, I think it's dash. Yep, control dash, which allowed me to lock that 3D view. And I'm going to just bring this over to the corner again. Fantastic. Okay. Now that that's in place, control with that dash diagonal line, and we're going to do the same for the 3D, just unlock it. We're going to press Control J to duplicate it, and we're going to do kind of the same thing, right? Hue and saturation. Control J. Black and white. Okay, so we're going to go to open up our hue and saturation, Control U, increase that saturation a little bit. Go to our black and white, press Alt, Shift, Control B. Oh, and I have to go back and remove the visibility of the hue. Turn on that tint and just I like that slight blue tint to things. I'm gonna do similar where I'm gonna just try to make that reservoir pop a little bit. The colors are a little different than the aerial view map. And press OK. So I'm gonna go back and look to our other file and just look at what opacity I had the black and white. So I had the black and white at 73%. Go here. So at least it's sort of similar. And then go to our hue and saturation, add our mask, B for the brush tool. And the brush tool doesn't have our black color, so I'm gonna double click the bottom left corner to the color picker and drag this all the way down to the bottom corner to get black. Again, I'm gonna just draw this in, trying to avoid the trees of our site. So for a studio project, you definitely want to kind of go in and like draw in or make sure that each tree is that's like touching the site is in color. Um, but I think this is also good just to see that like we don't have to work at the pixel level. Even though I'm doing kind of a messy um, outline of the site, you can't really tell. There's definitely little piece or parts where you can see it, but overall it's looking pretty good. On this hue and saturation, I'm going to do the same thing as I did before with contrast. I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and select Brightness and Contrast. Increase that contrast just a bit. Wonderful. I'm noticing too that this is, oops. There we go. I just had a little sliver of color. Another way, I just noticed that because of the contrast, a little corner here too, but you can really see on this mask here in this little icon of the mask if you've missed a piece. Okay, so we've got that part done. We can, oops, let's add a new layer and let's use the pen tool again. You can see my road coming through here, and then it sort of disappears. Let's see, I think I can see it. I'll have it go all the way up there. So right now it's a dashed line. So I'm going to go up to the stroke options, make that a solid line, increase the weight just a little bit, and then change that color to that highlight color I was using before. And I'm going to do the same thing. So we're going to turn this into a smart object. Go to Filter, Blur, Filter, Blur, Guisan Blur. Fantastic. And also noticing that there's some parts where the trees kind of overlap. So I'm going to press Alt. I'm going to zoom in to my road. Create a mask. B for the brush tool. And I'm going to press Alt and right click to decrease the size. I'm just going to erase some of this. Okay, it's looking all right. And then what I might also do is Alt right click and change the hardness all the way down. I'm going to just try to give it a little bit of depth by just letting it fade away a little. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure if I have the park, but I think I can see it. For a studio, you definitely want to be very sure, but what we're going to do is press P, and whatever we had before, that was our colored or filled in spot. We're going to highlight that again. So I'm going to have my color there, take away that outline. Let's see, what did I have for, I had it at 100. Okay, filter. Oh, change this to a smart. Decrease the opacity a bit. And then P for the pen tool. So this is kind of where you can make kind of a designer's decision. So we were really looking at this in perspective. The border would be kind of missing because of these trees would kind of be hiding it. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of celebrate our new perspective here. And I'm going to not put the line behind the site because it would just kind of cut off our trees. And there's our border. It was a little small before, but it feels really small now. So let's just bring that up. And then similar, if I was kind of outlining the entire reservoir, we would end up having to like kind of draw a line over the trees because they're hiding parts of the reservoir. I'm gonna celebrate that by letting them hide it. And then finally, T for text. Change that color. Fantastic. Oops. Copy and paste or Control J to duplicate the layer. And this could be a little bit smaller. And oops. So if you click out of like the editing text, you can kind of edit the text as if it was an image. But if you want to kind of edit, so like right now I want to elongate the text so that it's not on two levels. I want it to be on the same level. Right now, if I tried to do that, I would change the whole size of the letters. But if I double click in here to edit it as a text, I can now open that up. There's escape. And let's use the control points just to give this a little bit of a fantastic. Oh. And then I think, let's see, so final step, which we should do on both. Sorry for jumping back to this, is let's add another layer. Let's press B for the brush tool. We're going to be working in the black, and let's do Alt right click, change that hardiness or hardness to like super small. I'll do it to 0. What we're going to do is just kind of draw a little bit of like clouds or something, and this will help people with, oops, focusing, oh wow, on the actual map. I'm going to just decrease the opacity a lot. There we go. I decreased it to 37. If we press E, we can go to the eraser and we can kind of just like clean up some spaces if you don't want them to be kind of hidden. Fantastic. So now you can see that by kind of getting those edges a little dark, we can really quickly notice the saturated center point. I'm going to do the same here. So we're going to add a new layer, press B, kind of draw that in. at 37. That's looking pretty good. So finally, just because we have a few more minutes, just want to show you two options for annotating. One thing that we could do is press P for our line tool, give that a solid line, and maybe increase the weight a little bit. We could do sort of like a call out to our reservoir or to your site that you're interested in. And if we go to and find it hidden under all this. Sweet. If I deselect everything, I can go in my properties and just hide my guides. So we can do something like this. But if you want to get super fancy, I'm going to copy and paste this for right now. You can also go to image, or sorry, edit, transform, and skew. Kind of like adjust the perspective, make it, press this, oh, shoot. Let's do that again. Adjust the perspective so it almost feels three-dimensional. There's definitely other options or other ways to go about that, but two different options. So I'm just gonna select these, hide them. There we go. And of course, remember to rename your layers so that you know what you're working with if you ever come back. Fantastic. So for the final, or for this assignment, week 5, which will be our final assignment that comes along with a tutorial, I'd like to see our first map, this one here, and then our second map on their own pages. So this will be a 3-page InDesign PDF, which will be submitted by Sunday. Fantastic.